Welcome one and all to Prime Month. Yes, this is going to be a month-long video series where we take a look at some of the most impactful Autobot leaders' toys and have a little look at some of the history behind them, see where they came from, what came after. So to start off this month, I want to take a look at probably the most impactful Prime figure that we have had in the last 2 decades. It's probably one of the most controversial, so without further ado, let's take a look at the Revenge of the Fallen leader class Optimus Prime.
Now, I've touched on the impact of the Bayverse movie toy line slightly with my review of NPM Jazz, but honestly, Revenge of the Fallen's toy line had some amazing hits amongst its ranks, going from that simplistic engineering used in Cybertron to complex transformation steps that are still used within the Studio Series and Masterpiece line.
So starting out in vehicle mode, Optimus Prime has a really great Peterbilt vehicle mode. It really does look amazing. Done in that lovely red, blue and silver with a slight bit of a metallic orange fade up front here. It is really nice, and it is a great representation of that truck mode. It really does look incredible, done with the clear plastic for the windscreen. Unfortunately, the smokestacks are soft plastic, so they will bend, and that's why they're sort of bent out of shape, mainly from robot mode, because that's how I'd like to have him. Honestly, as soon as I get the Masterpiece version, I think this will stay as the vehicle mode, because it looks incredible. It really does. You can see sort of some of that metallic paint, the flames going along the sides. It does look gorgeous. Coming around to the back, you've got the trailer hitch here, which is done in black plastic with a bit of grey. You've also got this silver compartment here, which houses the battery pack, which we will get into more in robot mode. I don't really think there is a way to trigger the sound effects on this guy for vehicle mode, but I know it's mainly just sort of an engine idling. There we go. Got some nice lights on the back here, but overall it is a gorgeous truck mode. Now, if you do have the Dark of the Moon Supreme Class Optimus, you'll know that the trailer doesn't exactly fit, but it certainly looks better than the Dark of the Moon Supreme Class Optimus that they had, but we'll get into that in another video. So, let's get into that pain of a transformation, shall we?
Now, like I said, transformation is a bit of a pain, and I do feel sorry for all the kids back in 2009, like myself, who struggled with transforming this figure. It's one that, for the time, is complex, but as you sort of get used to it, it's quite enjoyable. The front cab section becomes feet, as well as the top half of the cab section becoming the arms, which I think is quite clever and has been reused for both the Masterpiece and a few of the other Studio Series figures. The top half of the cab becomes the back alongside the fuel tanks, which is quite smart, and the way that the chest compacts and compresses back in is really smart. You do have to fiddle around with those chest cavity parts just to get them lined up on the runners, just to make sure that it does utilise the gimmick. And like I said, it is a bit of a pain, it's a little bit finicky, but overall it is an enjoyable transformation. And yeah, little me would not have been able to do this smoothly.
And here we have Prime in his robot mode, and honestly, this thing looks incredible. It definitely gives the Masterpiece a run for its money for shelf present. I mean, if you can't get a hold of the Masterpiece version, this is definitely a second for having a beautiful looking Prime. Now, taking a quick look at his head sculpt, it is done in a blue with a lovely silver paint. The rest of the figure still sports that grey, that red and that blue, which really does resonate off of him. He's got the chest pecs like every other Prime does. He's got some nice gold detailing on the inside there, alongside a little ribcage. You can just see that in there. Overall, it is not a badly painted figure. It really does look good. I mean, even the back itself is fairly clean, despite it just being made up of truck cab parts. You do also have the front of the cab just sticking off on the side, but that's to hide the battle blades, which you did see pop out during transformation. Unfortunately, they are a slight tad annoying, but we will get into gimmicks in a second. For now, we'll get into articulation. So head is very limited, and that's due to a gimmick as well as his shoulder pecs getting in the way. His shoulders are on nice ratcheted universal, very nice clicky universals. You can get 360 and 90 degrees on those. You get a swivel at the elbow there, as well as a 90-degree bend. Unfortunately, it is limited due to those blades. You get 360 on the hands. Going down to the hips, you get a nice universal, nice spread. Unfortunately, they are hindered by these top tyres. Got a nice forward and back. Back is hindered by that block there. Got a lovely ratcheted bend at the knee, very nice bend. And the feet are just on ball joints, so you can get a nice bit of ankle tilt and toe down. Overall, it's not a bad figure, and like I said, it does have that shelf presence that does rival the Masterpiece if you can't afford to get the Masterpiece or haven't managed to find it. Like I said, there are some gimmicks with this guy. First off being battle blades, which are just spring loaded on these tabs here. By pushing them in, the blades do fold out. And they are probably the most irritating part of this figure. They get caught on everything, but they give him some really nice presence, and they do look great. The other gimmick is by pressing down this bit, he will say his name, and it will also light up the eyes. I don't think you can see, you can just about see that. Yeah, you can just about see that. So it does have lights and sounds, which is part of the leader class sort of gimmick for Revenge of the Fallen, and part of their Mecha Live gimmick that they had, which was a weird name, then went to Mech Tech for Dark of the Moon. But this guy was re-released in Dark of the Moon with a jetpack, and instead of the blade it had hooks, which was better in terms of storage because it wasn't as much of a pain as these things are, which I will be removing at some point because they are just irritating. Overall, it's not a bad leader class figure. Of course, it does combine with the leader class or Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire, but we will take a look at that combination in a later video. Yeah, overall, it is a very nice leader class figure.
Don't do it, Prime, it's not worth it. What's wrong with you Bayverse figures?
Overall, I think that the Revenge of the Fallen leader class Optimus Prime is a brilliant figure, despite all of its flaws and its mildly irritating transformation. I'd say that it definitely stands as probably one of the best movie figures, mainline movie figures that we've ever had. I mean, there's no debating the fact that it had 3 re-releases. It's just a great toy, and I would definitely recommend him despite the fact that he is a bit of a murderer. Overall, the figure definitely had an impact within the franchise. It was what spurred the way for more intricate transformations within the main line. It was also probably one of the most pinnacle moments for Transformers. The Bayverse did so much to get Transformers back into the public eye, and it definitely helped. So overall, Bayverse isn't really that bad. So that's been my look at the Revenge of the Fallen leader class Optimus Prime. Like I said, I think it's a great figure. It has its issues, like every figure. There are bound to be nitpicks here and there, but it is great as a figure and great as a toy. So if you did enjoy this video, stay tuned for the rest of Prime Month, where we will be taking a look at probably some of the most notorious Prime figures out there, such as the Generation 1, the MP10, and probably one of the most controversials, Optimus Primal. Well, for now, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you for the next one. If you guys enjoyed this, then why don't you head over to Leicester Vintage Toy Shop channel and check out their Toy Shop on Tour series, as we follow Joe and Gav's adventure around the UK and Europe, exploring new toy shops and collecting some old toys.
Action figures, dolls, Star Wars, weird stuff, Transformers, monsters, space toys.